Hello, The Zone. This is Willy.
Hey, Willie, this is Barr from Dropkick Murphys.
There he is. What's up, man? How are you?
I'm well. How are you? Sorry for my tardiness. I got a little delayed coming back from Portland, Maine. So
That's all right.
I apologize.
It's a little early. Where are you guys at? You out east?
Yeah, I'm home. We're all home right now. So I was with my wife and my youngest child, having kind of a. My mother-in-law flew out and took care of the older two for the night, and we got a little mommy-daddy getaway, if you will.
There you go. Getting ready to embark on the tour, then. You guys haven't even split yet, huh?
Yeah, no, we leave on Saturday, so.
Very
for
cool.
Denver, we started Sunday at the Riot Fest in Denver, and then we're out 17 days or something.
So we're third show. You're doing Denver, Salt Lake, and then us.
I believe so.
Very cool. And this time around, you guys have been to Billings several times. I've seen you, I think, every time you've come to town. But this time you're playing at the Babcock Theater downtown. That show just got moved. You probably don't even know. But
No.
instead of an auditorium, it's like a 100-year-old theater. It's really badass.
Oh, nice. We always love playing those old 100-year-old theaters. They can be fun, you know.
Yeah, it'll be great. Al Barr, of course, lead singer of the Dropkick Murphys. Absolutely the most original sound in music. You guys just, it blows me away every time, the Celtic folk punk. And the live show's always, I mean, you guys have good live albums, but the live show just blows me away.
Well, it's kind of where that's kind of where we live, you know what I mean? We make records to kind of, you know, I always kind of look at it as we're marking ourselves in time, where we were at that point. But live is where we, you know, that's what the band's always been about.
You weren't necessarily there at the beginning, but when they started to put things together, I'd imagine it was hard to find guys that were into punk that played some of the things like a banjo or bagpipes or accordion.
Well, I was, you know, I mean, I mean, for all intents and purposes, I was there.
Right.
The band hadn't really done all that much until when I came aboard, and we were a 4-piece for the first 3 years.
That's true.
And then we went kind of. Our whole thing was, you know, finding kids, like you were just saying, finding kids in the punk scene that played those instruments. Excuse me, it was a challenge there, and then. You know, we just kind of, you know, we didn't want to, you know, we could have done it, you know, in the studio, but we always felt it was kind of, you know, cheap to kind of do that in the studio and then not be able to recreate it live. So,
right, especially,
you know, it took the years of touring the country to find the kids that play the instruments, and then we found the kids that play the instruments, blah blah blah. Went full bore, and then it was years of trying to perfect that, if you will. And I'm not saying that we perfected it by any means, but you know, just trying to figure out how to mic a frickin' accordion. I mean, I remember we had a pile of, like, dead accordions in our practice space because every time we flew with one, it would break.
Right.
So, because no one told us don't fly with the accordion. So we'd, like, you know, we had a pile of these dead accordions. It was pretty funny.
Oh, funny. And then when you guys kind of started got rolling, you guys redid the old Red Sox song "Tessie." How did that kind of come about? Did they ask you? Did they come to you guys for that?
Yeah, that was several years later. I think we were the band that nobody really wanted to get involved with at all. And we actually, the first thing the band did was we did a Bruins fight song, you know, the one that the band wrote actually, called "Time to Go," and we played at the Garden at a Bruins game, and so that was kind of our first kind of foray into the professional sports world, if you will. And then, the Tessie did after we did that. Someone at the Globe had this idea, and they talked to someone at the Red Sox office, and then they kind of, you know, were talking to us about it, and it was. I remember we were on tour in Europe at the time, and we got this like cassette tape of the original. Well, a version of the original arrangement of Tessie, and it was like barbershop. There was no rock and roll to be found anywhere in the song.
Uh-huh.
We just all looked at each other, and we were all excited at the notion of doing something, obviously, for and with the Red Sox. But then the other side of it was, how the hell are we going to do anything with this? This is crazy. And anyways, it ended up working out, but it was a challenge.
And so your venture into sports and movies wasn't necessarily a plan or on purpose? It just
no, never. Man, we never planned any of this, man.
Well, no, I can imagine not, especially your guys' big hit, of course, the platinum shipping up to Boston.
That was definitely not planned.
When The Departed. I think that's amazing because there isn't a lot of punk bands that have a platinum song, and I'm sure there's far less Celtic punk hardcore bands that have a platinum number one. So
Yeah, no, I don't, I mean, again, that was something that, shipping, the only reason why shipping was on Warriors Code was because we needed the extra song. We didn't that recording, that version that we recorded for Warriors, we weren't psyched about at all. So it was one of these things where we were like, all right, we're definitely not putting that song on the record. And then they came at the end, we were like, we need it, so we just threw it on there. And then we played it live once to see how it went over, and it was like a fart in church. And then we were like, okay, so we'll bury that song forever and never speak of it again. And then a few months went by, and I remember reading this like at 11:30 at night, this email from our manager at the time, Diane, that said, Scorsese, she's Australian, she's like, Scorsese's looking at doing a movie about Irish mafia in Boston, and, they're talking about using the song from the Warriors Code. And I was like, all excited, not because I thought it would ever happen, but more just because the idea that Scorsese even might have heard who, the name of the band.
Yeah, that's got to be awesome.
But then it ended up coming to fruition, and not only that, but was, not only featured prominently twice in the film, but also, we got the big nod on the red carpet from Scorsese himself. There was a recording of him, thanking the people of Boston and us, and that a lot of the Boston radio stations were playing for a while. So that was really kind of, we never met the guy, but just the fact that, it was cool. And again, like you said, a punk band platinum, that's not supposed to go together.
Right. And a nod from Scorsese that's just killer. That's got to be one of the highlights for you, huh?
Oh man, of course. I mean, it's one of those things that's not real. You don't really look at it as it, what I mean? It's like, it's one of those things you're just like, how did that happen? It was like, like getting on stage and doing a song with Bruce Springsteen. You kind of go,
right,
did that really happen? Or meeting Joe Strummer and talking with him, you go, did that just happen? When there's been things that have happened in my, time in this music thing that, I've been really lucky, and I've seen some great bands and I've experienced some great things, but there are times where you're just like, you go, Jesus, that just happened.
When I heard that Springsteen was going to be singing on that Rose Tattoo version, I was a little bit weirded out, but I know you guys have done stuff with Springsteen before, and I dig it. How did that all come about?
Well, I think that was the song that we put forth for to raise money for the marathon bombing victims.
Right.
And Springsteen, he's always been about, charity and, on a local and national level. So I think, he was, he knows, I've met him a couple times, but he and Ken are pretty friendly, and they have a good rapport, and it was just one of those things where, he signed on for it. He wanted to do it, and it just, if you think about Dropkick Murphys trying to raise money for Boston, for the marathon bombing victims, and then you combine that with Bruce Springsteen, it's like that's just not hopefully that much more that attention it'll get, and we'll be able to hopefully raise that much more money for. So I think even if we didn't have any relationship with Bruce Springsteen, it would have made sense just for the normally I wouldn't come at anything from a try to sell something, because that's not for me why I got into music. But when it comes to raising money for a worthy cause, obviously you're trying to do just that. So having someone like Bruce Springsteen get involved, whether we knew him or not, I think would just make sense if he was willing to do it. But then again, we already had that kind of, relationship with him.
Right.
He's a great guy. I always thought he was a great guy even before I met him. He's just,
he's the boss. He's the boss.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what's your favorite song to perform live, Al?
That's a good question, man. We have, 8 studio albums now, and, then we have a lot of covers that we do too that I like, but there's a few different ones. I mean, it would be hard for me to pick one, but I guess if I had, I'd like to, there's a song called God Willing that I really like to do. There's a song called, the Warriors Code is one that I like to do.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, it's hard to pick.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, you always like to play the newer songs as well, because those are less tired song.
Right. I always kind of get a kick out of some of your guys' covers too. Years back, you guys sent me that B-sides covers and other crap CD, and I still listen to it a lot. You guys cover some CCR on there, some AC/DC.
Oh yeah.
Are we going to be hearing what kind of covers are we going to be hearing this time around? Can you let it out of the bag?
We keep all those in the quiver, if you will. So it's the kind of thing where we might pull out a AC/DC. We'll go. I mean, because we're we sound check every day, so we'll just go. Okay, let's try to change it up, especially if we're playing within 100 miles of the town we just played. We always switch the set list around.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you never know what you're going to get. You know what I mean? So I can't say because I honestly don't know.
I went and I was digging up some of your videos and stuff on YouTube today that I haven't seen in years, and forgot about one, actually, my favorite ever Wake song, Going Out in Style.
Right.
And I don't know if I'd never seen the video before or if I just wasn't paying attention. I know the Bobby Orr verse in there and Fat Mike, but I didn't realize that you'd actually lined up those guys to get into your video. That was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, it's funny. I remember we had Chris Chaney from The Living End in Australia. I remember, I think we actually got Fat Mike at the same time because we were doing the No Sleep Till.
Right.
Big Day Out. It was Big Day Out. It was either No Sleep Till or Big Day Out, but we got Fat Mike at the same time.
I was going to ask how that happened too, because if you just call up Fat Mike and ask him, because he's always been a dick to me.
We've been friends with Fat Mike for years already. Anyways, we shared the stages with him on Warped Tour in the early days. So back when we were 4-piece, I think one of our greatest early feathers in our cap was our original guitar player Rick Barton beat Fat Mike in mini golf.
Oh really?
I beat Fat Mike, and so that was like a big deal in 1998. So,
I guess the other thing I was going to talk about is I think everybody knows a Spicy McHaggis. I think we all kind of have that friend, and he was a real guy, right? He's a guy in the band. Was he the accordion player or something for a while?
He was the bagpiper.
Bagpiper, gotcha.
Back a few records ago, but he left the band. But I think everybody knows that guy who's just lived on, unhealthy living and somehow seems to be in better shape than the ones that try to live healthy.
Right. Makes me laugh. Al Barr from the Dropkick Murphys, man, we're looking forward to it Tuesday night, Babcock Theater. Billings is always ready to see some Dropkick.
All right, well, we look forward to it, man. Thanks a lot for having me today, and sorry for my tardiness.
Not at all. Thanks for taking the time.
All right, take care. Bye.